Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to talk about the aerodynamics of a goat. No, actually, we're going to talk about doing fueling versus cam position. It's something that a lot of OE level tuning will do. Very common one that I think a lot of us can think of if you're a tuner or been around it is going to be the Honda K series. But the EcoBoost, a lot of the European stuff, a lot of Bosch-based ECUs will do some type of fueling compensation versus cam position. You might also see ignition timing versus cam position. But today we're only going to talk about the fuel model, and we're going to talk about its effect on volumetric efficiency and primarily at low speed. So what you're going to see is an unfinished tune, but we're going to really concentrate on the low RPM stuff, and you can see what happens as we advance the cam. The car that we're going to be talking about is a 1JZ VVTi. If you saw on my Instagram, it's the engine that was in the Conquest TSI, one of our customers brought to us. It has Brian Crower 272s in it, I believe. I don't really know. I wasn't given a full mod list. Regardless of what cams are in it, you're going to see tremendous difference moving at just 5-degree increments of intake cam advance. This will probably be a two-part video just because it's going to run a little bit long. And I'm going to show you some of the things that I came up with to, number one, help tune the car, and then also to alleviate some of these VE differences. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch to the first time the car was on the dyno, and I'm going to show you what the VE model looked like with just correcting for the cam position. Not any of my background tricks, but just what the VE table ended up looking like. So let's switch to that. So this is our VE table, and Haltech gives us the luxury of doing it four-dimensionally. So right here, you can see that the intake cam target is 0. Obviously, a 1JZ only has it on the intake cam. Some cars do have dual VVT. That's not necessarily what we're dealing with here. That can be the subject of several other videos. Primarily something like the Evo 10's 4B11 would be a good example of a car with dual VVT, in their case dual MIVEC, and it can make some substantial changes. So we're going to worry about these 9 cells primarily right now. And the reason is because this is the cruise zone. Most of what you're going to see here is really only going to make a difference for how the car drives. It will affect everything, obviously, but we're going to focus on where it's driving, because the wide open, really the VVT table kind of ends up two-dimensional. It's pinned, we're accelerating, we're moving through some different zones to get to what we want, but cruise, we can vary vacuum a lot and throttle, and that's all going to affect what we do as far as the VE. Because in this particular case, that's how the VVT table works. It's versus vacuum. So when I did this test, I would take and block this out. I started at 0, saw what it did in those areas, then 5, 10, 15, 20, so on and so forth. As you can see, this is a very set map. There are reasons I came up with these numbers, and we'll get into that. But you can see what I'm talking about, that as soon as we floor it, it's really going to go 10, 15, 20, maybe 25, depending on how fast the turbo spools, and then 30, and then we're there, we're done. But when we go back to the fuel tables, let's look at how these 9 cells right here move. You can focus on any of them that you want. I'm just going to kind of look at the 2500 one at negative 12 inches of vacuum. Now we move to 5 degrees, we can see not a whole lot of change. There definitely was some. We lost a little bit there at 2500. Then we're going to go to 10 degrees. All of a sudden, that number went up. So now if our VE number goes up, that means it's more required fuel. That means it's more required air. Theoretically, we're making more power in cruise, which is going to help the drivability. It's going to help how the car feels. Ultimately, it can affect fuel efficiency, which, well, that's not the primary focus of this video. It's always something to consider. Then we go to 15 degrees. Ooh, it dropped a lot. That spot right there went from 57.8 down to 50. So we can see that these camshafts are starting to become a little bit less efficient at low speed. Not a big surprise. They are big cams. We go to 20 degrees, it's dropped even further. You can see some of the areas out and around it have really started to drop. We go to 25 degrees. Now it's starting to drop even at higher RPM. Not necessarily somewhere you're probably going to be cruising. But, you know, maybe you're getting ready to, you let off. So how snappy it is from here to here, you're not going to necessarily notice, but it is making a little less power. Just things to consider. And a little bit better at 30 degrees. Again, not where you're really going to run there. I believe on this particular car, you don't really actually get to 30. I think you get to 28.8, something like that. But all this, and you can see right here in the cruise, look at that though, 36.9. Look at that spot specifically. Low RPM cruise, it does not want a bunch of cam advance. And that's what this is here for, is to give you an idea of how to calculate cam advance if you do have a VVT car. What do you need to cruise at? What is going to be the most efficient? See, it jumped 10% just in 5 degrees. Oddly, going backwards, going from 25 to 20, it started to drop again. 15, about the same. 10, 11% increase. So when we go to the VVT table in this case, that's why this is 10 degrees at cruise. Really seems to be about the best spot for this particular combination. So now I'm going to stop this and show what I did to help tune this a little bit better. And you can see that I have a VVT table versus flex fuel. That was just a theory. There is no real change. But what I did is using the Haltech's long-term fuel trim. Haltech has a lot of long-term trims that you can apply to various tuning features, and it's really, really awesome. Is that you can sit there and drive the car, set the VVT map up however you want, come back, go to 5 degrees, go to 10 degrees, go to 15 degrees, go to 20 degrees. And that's how that base fueling table, how I was able to get this populated, is just driving it on the dyno. Something you don't have to have a dyno for. You can drive it on the street and do this. And honestly, it doesn't take that long. Because you would just come in to your VVT table, and like I said, you'd start all zeros in cruise, then 5, then 10, 15, whatever you really feel you need to do. So that's how we arrived at those numbers. Now, we had some pretty big swings, so I was able to devise a strategy to fix that. That's going to be in part 2, so tune in for that. It'll be a couple days after this video, maybe a week. So we're going to get more into those exact specifics in that video. So I hope everybody's doing good. I hope you're looking forward to the race season in 23. I hope it's going to be a better one than 22, at least for me. I didn't get a whole lot of racing done, but I hope we all have some fun. If you can get out to Texas 2K, I think it's going to be the last one there. So, you know, kind of monumental. If you can make it, I know you'll have a good time. Anyway, guys, take care. We'll talk to you later. If that content is something that you like, please consider giving me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. Definitely leave comments for positive, negative. Let me know where I can improve, what you guys want to see in the future. It just helps the channel, and it helps get you the content that you want. If possibly you have a friend or a community group that can benefit from content like this, please consider sharing it with them, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want to go. Lastly, if you want notified as new content is added, simply click on the bell icon and YouTube will do that for you. Thanks again, guys. Take care.